The way or the speed of speciation, the pace of speciation, there's two hypotheses about it. One is gradualism, and then the other one is punctuated equilibrium. So gradualism means it happens slowly over time. And then punctuated equilibrium, to summarize it, the species are very stable. So maybe, ocean is pretty stable, so ocean species. But then something happens and it causes, different species to arise all of a sudden. So it's that equilibrium, but then something happens, causes new species to come along. And that's punctuated equilibrium. So gradualism suggests that evolution proceeds in small increment changes over many, many, many generations. So we have this flower here, and slowly it just, gets this new color, and slowly this color, and then becomes this species. Also, another one here, and then another one. But this is happening slowly over time, very slow, gradualism. And then we have punctuated equilibrium. So we have this flower that's pretty stable, and then it's interrupted, something happens, and then it becomes new species. Here, we can see it went to this species slowly over time, few things changed over time, and here it just, became new species because something changed drastically. And then another species, something happened here, another species appears, something happened, another species appears. So evolution might occur quickly when there's a key adaptation that arises. So if there's one adaptation that helps it, adapt to the climate, another species can arise, whereas this happens slowly over time. So in this example, basically this is saying what I just said. We have the first flowering plants, and then here is showing diversified slowly over time. Here it's just diversified pretty quickly after reproducing. So if there's a mass extinction, if you want to define mass extinction, that's basically many, many species dying at the same time. So that's a definition of mass extinction. So if there is a mass extinction, so there was a mass extinction of dinosaurs or reptiles, and then we had mammals at the same time. But because these animals were big, there was a lot of competition, these kind of stayed small. But since these went extinct, volcano, so there were three things that were, that caused the dinosaurs to go extinct. The volcanoes happened, there was a lot of competition, and I think another theory is the meteorite hit the earth, and all those things caused the dinosaurs to go extinct. Anyway, so these went extinct. Now these mammal species have a new habitat. There's no competition or less competition. So these can diversify into different bigger species. So once one species go extinct, it opens, habitat to other species and provides them new habitat, which can, diversify depending on which habitat they live in. They can become different species. So they have more resources basically, and that kind of changes things. I already defined this. So species is extinct when all of its members have died. So in this example, we have the dinosaurs. And then we have so that was mass extinction. A lot of things caused the dinosaurs to go extinct. Then there's this background extinction. So this is happening, slowly. So basically in the background extinction, species are going extinct over maybe, let's say in few years, 50 years or something, one species goes extinct. So it's kind of happening in the background. It's not all together where we will notice it. So that's background extinction. And for example, I think we have pandas now. They would have gone extinct, but the humans, they kind of they've been keeping them around. If we just leave them in the wild, they wouldn't be able to survive. So they are kept in captivity where they're fed, and condors as well. So those species would have gone extinct. They don't have the adaptation that is needed in order to survive in the wild. So this is kind of happening in the background. It's not a mass extinction. So here, basically, this, this table is showing you different mass extinction events, and then how the birds appeared after dinosaurs. So the birds are related to dinosaurs. So basically, dinosaurs have gone extinct, but there's something that's very closely related to dinosaurs that's still around, and that's birds. And this is showing basically mass extinctions that happened over time. So there are 5 mass extinctions. There's actually, you guys don't have to name them. I'm not gonna have you guys name them, but just know there are 5 that happened, mass extinctions, and then a lot of species went extinct. So a lot of species went extinct when these mass extinctions happened. Then we have something that's called impact theory. This is saying that a meteorite or a comet, it hit the earth and caused extinction of a lot of species. An example your book gives you is after a meteorite hit the earth, basically a lot of these chemicals, you can say, went in the atmosphere, forming basically a cloud around it, and where the sun won't hit the earth. And they have found evidence, I believe it's iridium that they found, that's not found on earth. It's very rare. It's found in the meteorites, in the one of the layers of the earth. And they're trying to find evidence for that. But anyway, so impact theory suggests that meteorites or comets cause extinctions when they hit the earth. So that happened during dinosaurs. But also, it's just not the one thing that caused them to go extinct. Also, the volcanoes and the competition from the other species that caused them to go extinct. So multiple things happen at the same time around. So after a collision, debris, they go into the atmosphere. Like I said, it can cause a black cloud around the earth where there's no sun. Therefore, the species start to die. There's no food. And that can cause, that's not only going to impact one type of species, it's going to impact all. So many species can go extinct like that. I think, I don't know if you guys heard about Yucatan Peninsula. You guys heard about this, Yucatan Peninsula? No? Let me see. Map.
Isn't that where they believe the meteor hit?
Yeah, so it's near Cancun, Mexico. They said the meteorite hit there, and that caused debris to go up in the environment. Trying to find a picture where it would show. You see super volcano. Have you guys heard about super volcano?
Yellowstone National Park?
Yes. So there's this super volcano, Yellowstone National Park, and that's what's creating all these hot springs here. Let me see if there's a map. So here it's showing, how much area it has affected. So if you're gonna say, I'm not gonna go to Yellowstone because there's this super volcano that can kind of, come out any time, and I don't want to die. But it doesn't really matter where you are, because if you look at this map, it went to these 3 states, and then there's debris falling into this area. So if it erupts, it's probably going to be throwing debris into California anyway. So it's it's going to affect you no matter where you are. So that's the supervolcano in Yellowstone, and that can cause climate change and extinction of the species. We also looked at plate tectonics. That's Earth's shifting land masses. They explain mass extinctions. I think I showed you animation where these Earth's crust was moving apart, which creates barriers, and these barriers kind of separate the habitat for a species. And once the habitat separates over time, there is a change, and that causes them to become different species. Therefore, even if these two kind of become one later in time, and those species won't be able to interbreed. So plate tectonics also explain mass extinctions. When this happened, there was a too drastic change for some of the species. They couldn't adapt. But if they're not able to go back and interbreed, that might suggest sympatric speciation. Now it's us humans. We're causing a lot of change, and you know, we are in the midst of sixth mass extinction, and that's caused by us. So there's this bird, European starling. It's so what we do, because we have planes now, we take birds, to different places we can. If you have goldfish and you go back and maybe, put it in the stream back, that's not good, because you're putting the species in the area where they didn't come from. So basically, if you go to Hawaii, I don't know if you guys anyone who has been to Hawaii at the airport, they're going to do this. It's an ecological check. They ask you, did you bring any seeds? Do you have any birds? Because they don't want those exotic species to come into their island and then, create competition for the species that are there. And that, if they are better adapted for the environment, might cause extinction of the species that are native. So that's why they do that. But yeah, humans, so we are causing a lot of pollution that might cause some species to move from their native space. And you guys all have iPhones. Factories are creating those iPhones. There's a lot of smoke creating pollution. And because we have planes, we're introducing non-native species, or I don't know if there's hunting going on and causing habitat loss. Maybe, I don't know, the species been moved because more houses need to be built there, and there was a habitat for the species. They might not survive in another environment that we are providing them. So humans are causing a lot of changes, and I feel like I'm going down the gloomy, side of this, but I always want to, motivate my students to kind of think about these things and, I don't know, maybe do something about it, take an action. So that's, I kind of wanted to, let you guys know that this is happening. We are changing the environment so much that the current extinction rates they're accelerating. They're accelerating because of our activity, and especially in the islands where there's a small land, and it might go extinct pretty quickly. So let me check.